Hello friends, welcome to another session of video tutorial on Maven. So today we are going to take a look at introduction to Apache Maven. Please subscribe, like, share and comment the videos on this channel. If you have any training inquiries, please contact me at techtrainerraj@gmail.com. So let us see what are the topics which we are going to cover today. So the topics which we are going to cover today are: what is Maven, why Maven, how to create a simple Maven project and what are the contents of that particular project, and what is POM, and adding dependencies in POM, and finally we will take a look at transitive dependency. Let us take a look at what is Maven first. Okay, so let us open up any browser and type in Maven. Let us go to this maven.apache.org. So this is the official definition of Apache Maven. Apache Maven is a software project management and comprehension tool based on the concept of project object model, which is POM. Maven can manage a project's build, reporting and documentation from a central piece of information. Basically, Maven is a build tool. Like any other systems, Maven will also do the following things, such as compiles the source code, and it compiles and runs the task, copies the resources to a particular location, packages the project, it deploys the project, and it also does the cleanup. So these are all some of the project build related activities which Maven does. Okay, so let us go back and see why Maven. Maven is a standard way of building the project. Suppose if your project has got a lot of dependencies, you can manage all those dependencies in a particular file called pom.xml. Once these dependencies are managed, you can also give the same POM XML file, and if you want to replicate the same environment on the other machine, you can do that easily, because once you have this pom.xml, if you copy it across to the new environment, it will download all the necessary dependencies onto that particular machine. Okay, so it is a standard way of building the projects, and it also has a clear definition of what the project consists, and it will make a day-to-day work for Java developer easier, because the managing dependency will be easier with Maven. It is an easy way to publish project information, a way to share all the jar across several projects, and it contains a clear definition of what that project consists of. So let us see how to create a simple Maven project first. Okay, so let us open up Eclipse. Go to Eclipse Marketplace. And search for Maven. So you have to have Maven integration for Eclipse installed. So if it is not installed, you have to go and install it. Okay, so since I have it installed, so it says it is installed here. Otherwise you will get the install button here, and you need to click on this to install. Okay, so now after Maven is installed, you have to go to File, New, Project, and then you need to click on Maven. So there will be a folder called Maven, and inside that you will have Maven project. So select the Maven project, click on Next, and it's going to create a new Maven project. Use default workspace location. Okay, leave everything default, and here you have to select. There are different archetypes available, so these archetypes are like templates for creating a sample project. The one which we are going to use is this Maven archetype quick start template. Okay, click on next. So once you click on next, it will ask you for group ID, artifact ID, and the version number. So there is a guide to naming convention on group ID, artifact ID, and version. So what is a group ID? Group ID is an ID which uniquely identifies your project across all projects. Okay, a group ID must follow Java package name rules. That means it must start with a reverse domain name. Suppose say your domain name is RajTech-Trainer.com, then it should start with com.RajTech-Trainer. And what is artifact ID? Artifact ID is the name of the jar without the version. Okay, so it is basically your jar ID. Okay, so what is the version? So if you distribute it, then you should choose a typical version number. So that means if you are providing the jar files across to others, or if you are distributing along with your application, then you should give them a proper number. Okay, so artifact ID is basically your project ID as well as your jar ID or jar name. Okay, so what is the version? The version, if you are distributing it along with your project, then you have to provide a specific version number, else it will create by default a snapshot. Okay, so let us go back to our Maven project. So here, as it says, group ID uniquely identifies your project across all projects. So this generally will be, okay, here I'm going to give com.RajTech-Trainer. So if my domain says RajTech-Trainer.com, then that will be reverse of that, which is com.RajTech-Trainer. Artifact ID, so I'm going to provide it as simple Maven project. Okay, and I'm not providing any version number here because I'm just creating a snapshot, and the package is by default it takes group ID and artifact ID as your package name, but you can also change this. So if you are distributing along with your project, so you have to provide your version number, this here. Okay, else you can provide it as a snapshot option. Okay, click on finish. Okay, by default it has created this particular project. In this project we have different folders. One is source main Java, source test Java, and it also has got GRE system libraries, and it also has got Maven dependencies. Okay, so there's a source folder and there's a target folder. Okay, so inside this source folder, source main Java folder, it has created a default app.java, which is containing a hello world program, and under test it has also created app test.java to test this app.java. Okay, by default whenever you create a quick start archetype project, it will create a project with JUnit dependency. One thing to note here is Maven dependencies. So it by default it creates a Maven dependency folder, and it has added one jar file which is JUnit jar file. All these dependencies will be under a repository called .m2 repository, which will be under C users and the name of the login, and under that you will have .m2 repository. Inside that repository it will create all the dependencies belonging to this particular project. And after that you have source folder and the target folder. Okay, so let us see what the pom XML file contains. So double click on pom.xml. It contains group ID, artifact ID and the version number. Okay, and the packaging, it says jar, so it's going to create a jar file, and then the name is simple Maven project. That is the name of this particular project, and it has added a dependency called JUnit. Okay, so this is how you create a simple Maven project. Let us see some of the commands which are available with Maven. Select the project, right click on this particular project and go to run as. So these are some of the commands which are available with Maven. So there is a Maven build, okay, Maven clean, Maven generate resources, Maven install and Maven test. So these are all some of the commands which are available. So let us click on Maven build and see what it does. Okay, so it is going to ask me the goals, and here you can provide different goals such as validate, compile, test, package, install and deploy. So let us see first validate. Okay, and click on run. Okay, so what this validate does is it validates whether the project is correct and all the information is available. That is, it will make sure that all the dependencies are downloaded. So it is scanning for projects. Okay, it's scanning for projects, and then it says build succeed. So that means all the dependencies are downloaded and available, and it's a valid project. Okay, so let us see the other command now. So run as Maven build, and the goal I'm going to give this time is compile. Okay, so it just compiles the project. Okay, it says building simple project, Maven resources again. Okay, compilation error. No compiler is provided in this environment. Perhaps you are running on JRE rather than JDK. Okay. Okay, so let us see. So it is using JRE system library. Let us go to properties and let us use this workspace default JRE, which is located inside the JDK. So let us see Maven. Okay, click on OK, and let us run this again. Run as, and then compile. Okay, so earlier it was just using JRE, but now it is using JDK, and this JRE is inside the JDK which is installed, so it has succeeded. So now let us take a look at the other command. Right click on simple Maven project again and select run as. This time I'm going to use the Maven test command. Select this. Okay, so what this test will do is it runs the test against the compiled source code. Okay, so it runs all the tests inside this class file, and it says test run 1, failure 0, error 0. So it will run the tests. Now let us see the other command. Right click on this again, run as. Okay, then and here I'm going to provide it as package, and click on run. As you can see, it has run, it has compiled, as well as it ran the tests. So the package will run, it will first validate and then compile, and then it will run the tests also. Okay, and it has created a jar file. So go to properties and go to this particular folder. It is the base folder of this particular project. Okay, so here it has created simple Maven project jar file. Okay, so let me delete this again to show you. Right click on this again, run as Maven build, and then here I'm going to give it as package. So currently there is no package there. If I click on run, so it should create a jar file. So it has created a jar file here. Okay, so now let us take a look at install, which is again right click on this particular project, click on run as, select run as, and then click on Maven install. Okay, so again what it does is it validates, compiles, tests, packages it, and then it will install it into our local repository. Where is our local repository located? Our local repository is here, and your jar is registered here inside your repository. Okay, so this is what the install do. Let us take a look at now the other command, which is run as Maven clean. Okay, so let us see what clean does. Clean will clean up, so it will clean up the target folder. So as you can see, there's nothing in the target folder now. Okay, so far we have seen some of the important commands such as validate, compile, test, package, install. Okay, so the deploy command we didn't see because what deploy does is it just copies the final package to the remote repository, for sharing with other developers. So deploy will deploy it into a remote repository. If you look at these, right, if I use install will do all these prior activities such as validate, compile, test and packages, and then it will go ahead and install. So deploy also does the same. So if you run test, so it will first validate and compile. This runs in this hierarchy. So that means if you type in deploy, it will run validate first, compile next, test next, and then package next, and then it will install and deploy. So this is the hierarchy which is followed. These are some of the important commands which are available in Maven build. So if you want to know more about the other commands, you can go to this introduction to build lifecycle under maven.apache.org. So there are a list of pages available like pre-clean, clean, post-clean, validate, some of these important ones which we have looked at, and there are a few more of them. So you can take a look at these and make use of them for your project. But I have covered some of the important commands. Okay, so that is about Maven introduction. So that is the end of today's session. Please stand by for more videos on this channel. Thanks for watching.